Well, good afternoon. How you guys doing today? Hopefully your weekend has been relaxing and uneventful. Life be life, as they say. So, wanted to talk with you guys that this topic might be of interest to about real estate commissions and an announcement that was made on this past Friday. And so, pertaining to sellers not having to pay for buyers agents commissions and kind of how things have been working since I've been in the business. And so per my title, sellers never had to pay for the buyer's agent's commission. It's always been negotiable. Now, I'm not a licensed realtor. Okay, I'm not carrying a license at this time. So anybody that's watching this, feel free to chime in and correct me if I say anything that is not accurate. I pride myself in trying to be accurate as possible because we live in a time in which, you know, folks just want to vomit. They want to show up and throw up. So, so they could try to get the attention of folks. And that's not what we try to do here. So, again, that's the reason for the video, just kind of working, digesting, listening to a lot of things, did some reading just to make sure I understand what's going on. And like most things, especially in the times that we live in now, most people just read the headlines. Okay. So the goal today is to get a better understanding of what was said. And if you're in the business, if you're a realtor, a listing agent, a buying agent, just give my opinion on what I see going forward, uh, and how you might want to move if you are someone selling or looking to buy residential real estate. What you should understand from what was being said, so that we can find the balance, right, the middle, and not be on the outliers and take some of the emotion out because purchasing real estate is a very emotional process. Unfortunately, it's not, it's not just analytics. A lot of emotions involved, and so people will always be involved. But with things such as what we're going to talk about today, with what's happening now is there's a cleansing, if you will, and that's always a good thing, right? Because there are some folks that need to go away. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at some of these buyers that are lamenting about buyer's remorse because they didn't understand that they had an HOA. Blows my mind. I don't understand how you purchase a home that has a homeowner association uh, structure, and you don't know any of the bylaws or CC&Rs. You don't know what's required of you and things of that nature. That's because a lot of folks are buying and selling based upon how your social media looks or how you look, or money was cheap and not really understanding. So we went through this years ago in the on the lending side of things. And again, if you're in the business, here's the overriding theme, in my opinion. Got to get better, man. Got to get better. We all have to get better. Okay. It's not about your look, although I know that's a part of your uniform, but too much is put on the look. And I'm just saying, from a lending standpoint, I do a lot of realtors' jobs. I mean, you'd be surprised the number of contracts to come in, and it doesn't even have your information on it, you know? So, anywho, this is not to beat up on realtors, but this is about you, and a lot of you guys are nervous. So, without further ado, let's look at what was said, right? So, if anybody wants to know, all you got to do is National NAR, National Association of Realtors. Go into their news and events section, pardon me, and you can see a synopsis of you, if you will, of what everyone is talking about. So went down on the 15th, March the 15th. So here's the deal. Just because there's a settlement, that does not mean that there is wrongdoing. And those that have been sued know. If you know, you know. For the for the for the general public, anytime there's a settlement, most people assume guilt. Well, in this case, and I'm not taking up for the National Association of Realtors because they've done a lot of stuff wrong, in my opinion. From letting these competitors that weren't supposed to be competitors back in the day, letting them come in and create the technology to create competition for you guys to get the leads to sell them back to a lot of you guys, the Zillows and so on and so forth. That was what Realtor.com was supposed to be, right? So, I'm not saying that I agree with them. You guys can make that decision if you're a part of the association, but they're trying to reach a settlement to stop the bleeding because all is happening now, right? Folks think they're going to get paid, and really the only ones going to get paid are the lawyers. But that said, just because there's a settlement, that's actually a smart move, to be honest with you. It can stop future litigation because going to court is expensive, very expensive. And a lot of the members were talking about going elsewhere. So, very savvy move. One of the best ones that they made, now that they're not dealing with sexual harassment claims and things of that nature. But on the 15th, here's the skinny. There was an agreement to resolve claims against NAR and over 1 million of its members, all state, territorial, and local realtor associations. All association owned multiple listing services. That's a key. And all brokerages with NAR NAR members as principals that had a residential transaction volume in 2022 less than 2 billion. Okay. So that's going to cover a lot of people. And here's the next thing, the settlement has not been approved by the court yet. So everybody's out here running, okay, talking, but it's still the settlement, the agreement must be approved by the courts. Now, I think it will be, okay? And if it is, then it's a win because it stops litigation for a lot of people and they can save their trade association. They meaning the National Association of Realtors. Okay. And all of this hubbub is a result of something that happened in the 90s before I was doing, in this industry. It said that there was a call for consumer protection advocates or buy advocates to have buyers representation. That's where all of this stuff really started, right? It's really called and this is on the website as well, the commission/cooperative compensation offer. That's what's put in the MLS as far as the percentage that the buyer, the listing agent, negotiated with the seller, a certain commission, and then the selling or the listing agent is saying, hey, out of my commission, I'm going to pay the buyer's agent. But over time, like everything else, nobody reads. And it's almost like, collusion, if you will, with these MLSs because all of the agents, they're just like, okay, we're going to, give the buyer's agents, depending on what market you're in. I mean, if you're selling, you know, jumbo type, if you're out in Cali and things of that nature, it might not be 3%. A lot of that is based upon where you are. But point I'm trying to make is everybody's doing the same thing. Well, like anything else, a good attorney understands time, not only, you know, um, physical time, but the mentality of the people that you're dealing with. And you always strike at the right time. So this was the right time to strike, to have the people that have that mindset to say, hey, I'm being taken advantage of. And I think one thing that most people aren't addressing, how is this able to happen? It's because of the internet. How I'm even talking to you. This technology, Moore's law, okay, the advancement of technology and the connectivity and the communication and things of that nature could be a pro and a con. So now, it is what it is. Even if, even if this settlement is not approved, that's for NAR. But again, per the title, the seller never had to pay the buyer's agent's commission. And it's always been negotiable. And now, because of the power of the internet and all these social medias and social networks and things of that nature, folks can talk and they can hear what they want to hear, right? And so now they'll know. So with all of that said, let's deal with the first thing, because this article, or some, it might not be in this one, but I've read a couple of other articles and it implied that now that this is the case, and we'll use this as an example, the majority of states where we land, 3% is the average for a buyer's agent to bring a buyer. Okay. Um, and so let's say we have a $500,000 house, 3%, 15 grand. So the assumption is, well, now that the sellers really know, hey, I don't have to pay for the buyer's agent, they need to pay for their own representation. Okay. Then now the home price should be 485,000. But that's where you're sadly mistaken. Okay. Why would the seller, why would you, if you're a seller and you have the comparables, comparable sales in your neighborhood to say, hey, you also too can sell your house for 500,000 minimum, right? And now you don't have to, you know, because it's always been the case, and it's by popular demand because folks are getting sued and people are capitulating, right? So now you really know, as a seller, um, the listing agent is good, right? I think Keller Williams wrote that book, right? To be in real estate, you got to list to last, right? You got to provide some value. Go catch the fish. So the listing agent is gonna get theirs. Always been the case. Okay, but the buyer's agent and now the buyer. Here's the deal. Well, let's stay on the buyer. Why would you, as a seller, lower your price? What's that? $485,000 just because you're not paying a buyer's agent? I'll wait. Stated differently, are you going to lower your purchase price by 15 grand? No, you're not. Okay. So now, not only does the buyer, okay, not have representation from a buyer's agent, and we'll assume we got some good ones out there, not a lot. The bad ones gonna have to go away, and they'll go away naturally because it's not easy anymore. You actually have to provide value. You have to know something. Okay, you can't just be pretty or handsome and shoot movie videos and be likable. You actually have to know something, right? So those folks will go away. But for those of you that really are in the business of being a buyer's agent, knowing how to write contracts and explaining the process and knowing how to how to get CCN, knowing the process, educating your buyer, you'll be able to last, right? But buyer, that whatever the listing agent is now not going to pay a buyer's agent, if that's the case, because it's still negotiable. And I think for the most part, it'll still happen that way because buyers really don't have the money. A lot of first time home buyers don't. Okay. Then you see, you're sadly mistaken because you wouldn't do it either. So I don't want you to be naive. This is more for NAR, and it's set a precedent, and not even set a precedent. What it's done, it's letting people know, it's woken them up. And then on the listing side, you guys should have been telling them that anyway. You see, so now all the chips are on the table. Everybody knows what everybody's making, and the question is, does your potential buyer see that value in you? And in the case I gave, 3%, 500 grand, are you worth 15,000? I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what the marketplace is saying. They're trying to say that, hey, man, what you've done is not worth that. And a lot of you guys, that's true. A lot of you guys, true. Even on the lending side, a lot of guys, it's true. Okay, you just been riding, but the riding time is over because good old internet. You got to be able to provide value. So buyer, don't be naive. Not only are you going to get representation, if you will, if some of you were getting it, but now you're going to have to pay for it, and that's a good thing because a lot of buyers that have purchased recently shouldn't have purchased. Why do you say that? Well, because you're on the internet crying about buyer's remorse because you didn't understand the taxes. I don't get that. And I mean, if you dealt with us as a lender, you well understood the taxes. But again, some lenders, folks are just pushing you down the path to purchase because it's emotional. You may be experiencing FOMO, fear of missing out, and trying to be like the neighbors or whatever. And then you get in that thing, right? And then the property taxes go up because values have gone up because we got a shortage of homes. A lot of people want to buy. You might be in a great area, got some equity, and or you were buying this home because you wanted to be an investor, but you don't have any money to invest to where you can put the monies down, and you get what I'm saying. So this is going to cut out a lot of that because now, and this is for a lot of you realtors, you really need to make sure you have a great lending partner because all these pencil whipping type approvals and things of that nature. Now, if you have to go out and negotiate and get a buyer's representation agreement, that's another part of this that they said that they would agree to. That's not new either. But a lot of buyer's agents I used to talk to years ago, they were definitely afraid. Okay. Why? Because the barrier was so low, buyer's cheeky. If you don't do what I want you to do, I'll go somewhere else. Why? Because the seller or the listing agent was paying that commission. Now it's more of an equal playing ground. And I think that'll give us better home buyers that are serious. And overall, it's going to be better for everybody. But initially, just like in our industry, when it was, uh, folks didn't understand value and when rates go up, people leave. Well, because you never were supplying value, you were just taking advantage of the opportunity. You see what I'm saying? And so, buyers, now if you have to pay, okay, because some of you might have to pay. And then here's the deal. At the end of the day, there's only so much we could do on the loan side, okay? Because depending on the loans, if you go on conventional and you're not putting down a certain down payment, the seller can only contribute 3%. And it was already an issue of affordability, okay, that a lot of us on this side have answered in the form of community seconds, repayable seconds, things of that nature. But then you're fussing about the interest rate. Well, save the money and put the money down. Home ownership is a privilege, okay? And then all you got to do is go back to the National Association of Realtors website and just look at the demographics. And then some of us are getting left behind. And other folks are coming here paying much higher interest rates, okay? Larger down payments. They have jobs and things of that nature, great credit. And some of us are sitting around thinking folks owe us stuff. Better wake up. Because if the Lord, it's Sunday, in my opinion, y'all got that wrong too. The Sabbath was yesterday. But anyway, that's my opinion. We in America, you could do what you want to do. I digress. Uh, wait till 2025, 2026 comes around. If you don't like rent now. What are you saying? Well, what I'm saying is this is another opportunity for you to wake up and you got to start providing value. And you got to find some place to be able to call home. All of this stuff that's been going on the last couple of years where everybody wants to just drift, that's cool until the rent keeps going up, okay? And you have no stability and you might have to move. But again, you do what it is that you like to do. We're talking about the National Association of Realtors. So now buyers, you might have to start paying for your representation. That's going to make a better system all the way around. Again, we won't have a lot of people talking about buyer's remorse and things of that nature. We'll have more serious home buyers. So ultimately, for everybody that are homeowners and things of that nature, economies, communities, it's better all the way around. So I didn't expect anybody, and I do that on purpose because this is better for me to stay on point. But I did want to give my 2 cents on the matter. Again, sellers never had to pay a buyer's agent's commission. It was just understood and everybody was just going with the flow. But what this announcement has done in the time that we're in, now your sellers know they don't have to pay. Okay. And then you buyers, you're not going to realize that. That's just more money they're going to keep in their pocket. And you can't be mad because if it were you, you do the same thing too. Let's be honest. Let's be real. I think that's what's her name? Dage Loaf. If I said it wrong, y'all know, you youngsters, let me know. Got to be honest. Yeah. Got to be real. So here it is. If you're serious about becoming a homeowner, or if you're a buyer's agent or someone out there that's worried about what's to come, uh, here's my solution. You need to partner with a great lender, okay? Unless your folks are paying cash, because you don't want to waste a lot of time on either side, buyer or uh, realtor agent. And if you're a buyer that doesn't understand the process, we do an excellent job of making sure you understand what it takes to not just finance a home, but to maintain it from a maintenance standpoint and potential increases in insurance and taxes, which have happened over the last year or so. Very important. Okay. And then we'll rely on the realtor partner, or from a lending standpoint, I partner with several realtors, real, okay, very professional, and they look the part, the whole nine, but the acumen is there. It's not just a facade, okay? Very capable. So that's how we can help buyers that might know where to go and look, and we could point you in a direction so you can interview those folks uh, to make sure that you're spending your money wisely, okay? And then for those agents, hey, again, we can make sure the people that you're dealing with are serious. And that way, you don't put the keys in the ignition, because now that game is over with, right? You don't have to jump and think, hey, everybody, I gotta get them in the funnel because they can go over here because the listing agent is paying the commission. Not no more, right? Even if the court doesn't accept the settlement, because that's separate. The word is out. Okay. You'll probably start hearing that. So you want to partner with folks that make sure that, people are able and willing, right? Everybody has a desire. We talked about that last week. You got the desire, but do you have the ability, right? Can they pay your commission? What kind of strategy do we have to come up with? What loan type do we have to come up with to see if the sellers might be able to deal with it on concession wise and things of that nature? It's time to partner with the right folks. So that's my two takes, my 2 cents on it, man. And with everything, we gotta relax. You feel me? If you like a loan scenario, right here, right here, click the QR code, right? If you're already in process and you want a second opinion, because that's why a lot of minorities get taken advantage of, that fear bug. But I mentioned the internet earlier. Don't have to be local. Brokers aren't better. You have to shop. Okay. So if you're outside of 30 days of actually consummating your deal, closing, then I would recommend click that QR code, answer those questions, get a second opinion. Doesn't hurt. You may be surprised. You might be paying a lot more than you have to pay. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Um, get some rest, because tomorrow's coming, baby. And if we're here, got to be productive. Got to add value wherever it is. That's the time we get into. Y'all be blessed. Be good to one another. Continue to let grace abound. And until we talk to you another on the next time. Peace. Got to be honest. Got to be